Hi everyone, welcome to the world of English with Sakshi Khanna. Once again, this specially designed class for grade 12, book Flamingo. We are starting today chapter 1, the last lesson. It's a very important for you people to understand about both the books. Flamingo is your core based literature and Vista is your supplementary. If you don't know, then how you will put the weightage while preparing for your exams? That is why I'm adding the word your core text book, that is Flamingo, so you can't avoid your long questions as well as your 2-3 marks short questions. So today in this session we are talking about the last lesson, the first chapter. We haven't started Flamingo, and I hope that you people are sitting with your PDF based text of the chapter, or you are having the textbook physically handy. So let's move to the class today. But before that, I just want to brief you up about the short summary, or you can say the main plot of the story, or what is the chapter about, because one overview will make you listen more interestingly. And again I repeat, this is a video lesson for you, so more focus over the listening, less to the reading, because content will not be clear for you. By evening you will be getting your PDF reading text as well, okay, on your wall, group wall. So let's start last lesson, book Flamingo, chapter 1. Today we are doing overview, the short summary, plot, the theme of the story, and next 2 lectures again based on the line by line explanation from the book itself. The last lesson is by author Alphonse Daudet. Right pronunciation is Alphonse Daudet. This story reflects on the importance of one's language for any race and why it is crucial to safeguard it. It is based on the theme of connectivity, boundness with the local language, our real mother tongue. Okay, the author narrates events about the year 1870 when France, captured by Bismarck, led Prussian forces. Now, we talk about the Persian, these are not Persian, it's a different. Prussian forces. Prussian, a former kingdom in North Central Europe, including present-day northern Germany and northern Poland. This story relates about the event which happened during 1870 when Prussian ruler took over the charge of 2 French cities, Lorraine and Alsace. So they are describing about such things, the incident specially related to these particular area, and time zone is 1870. So let's move to the story once again. Furthermore, the Lorraine and Alsace districts went under Prussian rule. There was discontinuation of teaching French in these 2 districts, as they were French districts. So French language was mandatory, but it was taken over. The moment it was taken over by the Prussian ruler, it was stopped. The teaching was stopped of what? The French language in all the schools. So the story relates about all such events happened in 1870. In the last lesson by Alphonse Daudet, incidents like one student of M. Hamel, the professor, the language professor, French language professor, was afraid of him. There was an anticipation. Anticipation means an expectation of punishment. Now relate this incident with your own real life. For example, you are in your English class, okay, and I'm in the class, and you are expecting some punishment, as you are getting punishment on the daily basis, and the same particular day you haven't done your homework, your assignment, or any reason. You are expecting your punishment, and in the meantime it is announced that you will be having the last lesson by Sakshi of English language. How you will feel at the same level? So if you will relate the story in this way, you will understand the concept very fast and you will frame the answers accordingly. Okay, so in the same way, incident happened. One student of M. Hamel was afraid of him. There was an expectation, an anticipation, you can say, of punishment from his student when he came to school that day. However, he learned that this will be the last lesson. Soon he realized the importance of this subject. This story shows us how people feel when they don't learn their language, their regional language, or their mother tongue, like that. Okay, they were French people and French is their mother tongue as well, as we are Indians. So Hindi is our mother tongue in the same way. So you need to relate yourself with the same character in the story. If we are in the traditional classroom, we do like that. Okay, I take out all the characters on the stage and you relate the incidents with your own personal life, with your own daily life routine, and you understand the plot very fast. In the same way we are doing the things. Okay, let's move to the plot of the story now. Before we start the plot of the story, little bit about the author, not more than that. Mr. Alphonse Daudet, born in Nemi. Nemi is the pronunciation. They have given the pronunciation as well. Attended school in Lyon. Began writing at the age of 14. See the writing. He started at the age of 14 and forced to earn at 17. In the age of 17, he started to make money with his article as well. Contributed to Figaro. Worked as secretary to the Duke. Married Julia Aladdin 1867. Now let's move to the major incident happened in the story. If we talk about the theme, as I told you, it's related about the connectivity foundation of culture, language. So it relates to culture and language. Hegemony of the imperial and colonial power. Hegemony means the dominance or leadership of one social group or nation over others forcefully, means like a form of a government or form of a special political system which they design themselves and forces over other nations, other districts, other area where they want to take the charge. So, hegemony of the imperial and colonial power, lust for ruling the world, lust, the greed, lust for ruling the world, influencing culture and identities. Pathos of the likely language crisis, language an asset. It's an asset for everyone, our asset, more so in times of crisis. Fear, shame and agony of losing freedom of learning and using mother tongue. Fear, shame also, agony, the anger, irritation of losing freedom because they were losing the freedom to use French now. They were not able to use French anymore, their mother tongue. Okay, so these all incident will be correlated with the story text and we are going through that step by step. Talk about the overview, synopsis, you can say summary. The prose, the last lesson, written by Alphonse Daudet, narrates about the year 1870 when the Prussian, not Prussian, please learn the correct pronunciation, Prussian forces under Bismarck, under the captainship of Bismarck was the leader, attacked and captured France. The French districts of Alsace and Lorraine went into Prussian hands in their charge. The new Prussian rulers discontinued the teaching of French in the schools of these two districts. The French teachers were asked to leave. Moving to the next set of incidents, the story describes the last day of one such French teacher, Mr. M. Hamel. Mr. M. Hamel had been transferred and could no longer remain in his old school because of the order issued by Bismarck. The leader, the captain, Still he gave last lesson, but still as he was the teacher, he wanted to give the last lesson on his last day to his students with utmost devotion and sincerity as ever. Means the sincerity, devotion and the ominous silence was not observed ever. The story depicts the pathos of the whole situation, about how people feel. Now the situation of the teacher and including the students, means the people, how they felt when they don't learn their own language and then losing an asset in Hamel. They felt they are not losing a teacher, they are not losing a person physically, they are losing their own asset, because mother tongue, own language, our own culture, our own customs, it's all our asset. Okay, so they consider that we are losing our asset, not Mr. Hamel. One of his student named Franz, who dreaded French class, means feeling fear, and Hamel's iron rod, the stick kind of, came to the school, that day thinking he would be punished again as usual. This was the same routine daily. He was threatened with that iron rod in the hand of Mr. Hamel. So he was thinking in the same way, and he came to the school thinking like that he would be punished as he had not learned his lesson of participle. Participle means grammar topic was the lesson which he was supposed to learn, and he didn't do that, and in the same way he was thinking that he would be punished once again by iron rod of Mr. Hamel. But on reaching school, next incident, but on reaching school, he found Hamel dressed in Sunday clothes. Sunday clothes because he was not in the formal class, that he decided official orders were issued to stop the class at once, but he wanted to give the last lesson, so he was in informal clothing, and he was feeling little shaky. And all the old people of the village sitting there, all the old people were sitting there. He was in the Sunday dress. It was due to an order on the bulletin board. Bulletin board, there was a notice. Bulletin board you can consider as your notice board in the school. That is why I told you that you need to relate your own school life, your own school system, your own school culture, how you people feel as a student while going to the class in which you haven't done your assignment or some sort of work. It was due to an order on the bulletin board. That was the first day when he realized for the first time that how important French was for him. French was for him because this was the last lesson. It was his last lesson in French. Then he realized the importance of the language. That is why I often tell you people that please value the things in the right time. After passing the time, if you will value, you are the big failure, you will be the loser. In the same way, whenever you think tomorrow will never come, because all the people were regretting badly that we were putting all the tasks related to this class, we were not taking seriously this class, always putting this task related to French assignment next day, tomorrow, next day, like that. Because understand this point, tomorrow never comes in anyone's life. So this lesson is giving you the moral message that please, whatever your assigned thing, do it today. Tomorrow will never come in anyone's life. Tomorrow will come with the regression only. And in the chapter, they are also having the regression in the lesson in the last lecture by French teacher. Last lesson in the illustrative form on the screen. First of all, the main characters, little Franz, Mr. Hamel, the French teacher, and the villagers. Theme, based on the language. Second, identity. Third, patriotism. Fourth, education. Third, linguistic chauvinism. Chauvinism means fanatical patriotism. Fanatical patriotism means overzealous with others' connectivity or foundation with their own religions, their custom, their languages. Okay, it is used in the concept of the Prussian army people and the war. Now setting the scene where this happened, a village in Alsace, Prussian occupied France. Okay, now let's move to the key points of this story. Franz is late for school. He sees a crowd gathered around the bulletin board and checking the notice on the board about this war. The notification of stopping French language lesson at first in the schools, in all the schools in two districts of Alsace and Lorraine. He plans to slip in quietly. Is surprised to find everybody seated. Even the villagers have joined the class. He plans to slip in quietly. Silently he wanted to skip the class because he didn't do the assignment which was provided by the French teacher, Mr. Hamel, and he was feeling scary to be beaten by the iron rod of Hamel. But he was surprised to see all the villagers, including the students, in the classroom. Mr. Hamel says that this will be the last French lesson and that he is being transferred by the Prussian regime. Regime means the ruler. Prussian rulers have transferred Mr. Hamel to other districts because here they are stopping teaching of French language as it has been occupied by the Prussian rulers. So they will follow their own language. The lesson begins. Franz is unable to recite the rules of participle. Rules of participle, it's a grammar concept. He was unable to recite the rules of participle. Hamel emphasizes their collective failure to appreciate the beautiful French language. So here Hamel emphasizes collective failure means failure of the teacher as well. Teacher was unable to teach them French language properly, and other side students were not taking the French language teachers seriously. They were busy in their daily chores, daily task, daily work and avoiding the French language assignment, the class seriously. Grammar and writing lessons begin. Everybody is very serious about it. Means that time no problem in the class. It was complete silence because they were all taking interest as it was the last lesson. The church bell strikes 12 and the Prussians sound their trumpet. Prussians sound their trumpet. Overcome with emotion, Mr. Hamel inscribes Vive Frank on the blackboard. The last lesson is over. In the French language, this is French language, Vive Frank, not the France, Frank. On the blackboard, the last lesson is over for today. And not for today, forever. Because now they lost their freedom to learn their own mother tongue, their own language. As Mr. Hamel put the things on the board in French language, last lesson over, last French lesson is over, then only they realize what they have done. They have lost the freedom. It is only when they are denied the freedom of knowing their own language, they realize how sorry, they felt sorry, but they lost the time. They lost the precious time when teacher was available and things were also right. Conditions, circumstances, all the situations were favorable. But now, official order has been issued and they have lost. But that time they didn't pay enough attention to the French lesson and how unfairly they are being treated. The sense of loss is suggested with the mention of the Prussians drilling their land. Drilling their land means acting over the taking operation. This is a real image. This is a real image of the war scene. A scene from the Franco-Prussian War in 1870. So the last lesson stresses on the importance of education and the necessity to respect and learn one's own language. The story also draws our attention to the unfair practice of the group of Prussian rulers, which are considered in this story linguistic chauvinism, means fanatical patriotism over jealous. It refers to an unreasonable pride in one's own language while disregarding all the other language as inferior. So this is again one more image of the War Memorial, France. In city of France, the War Memorial is the symbol of that 1870 wartime. Moving ahead to the synopsis, or you can say the short summary, interpreting here. What does the story suggest about how the students can be motivated to learn? Teacher got the failure. Do you find France's change of attitude realistic? Explain. Do you feel that as all the incident I have explained you, do you feel that next time when he will get the chance or he will get freedom in the life in his next lesson of French language, he will be the same or his attitude will be changed? History is full of examples in which victorious nations outlawed to suppress the language of the conquered people. Why do you think language can seem so important? It is important. How would you feel if you were forced to give up your language? How you will feel? That is why I told you people, you need to relate yourself. You need to relate yourself in the same situation as they people were sitting in the class to have their last lesson. What lesson does the last lesson have for the people facing such a challenge? Now, will they make them sing in German too? Even the pigeons? Points to the limits ambitions of the rulers can reach. Fears and the apprehensions of the ruled. Agony and helplessness of subjugation means which was forced to them. Believe that choice of language is one's own prerogative, means their own jurisdiction. It's their own right, free from all political or social bondage. There should be no bondage. There should be no forcement of choosing the language. We should get the freedom. So this chapter is giving the same. Man's envy of the free world of nature. Bondages in the human world. In the nature there is no foundation, but in the human world, lot many foundations. The government changes, the rules are changed. The rulers change, the systems are changed. So this is not realistic. It should not be done. If they are in the nature, everything remains same whatever the situation. Why in the human world? This is a big question raised in the story. When the people are enslaved, as long as they hold fast to their language, it is as if they had the key to their prison. Language links culture and society, which in turn unite people and eventually liberate them from political subordination. Means you can understand with the clause that language links with the culture. Okay, so if we are talking about the Hindu culture means because 80% of India population is Hindu. Okay, so Hindu culture, if we want to know about Hinduism, we will go for the literature based on the Hindus, that is Ramayana, Gita, and it's all in Sanskrit or Hindi. If we are restricted to learn Hindi language, how we know about the culture, the society, the system? Okay, we can't do that. So it should be free from all the political and political subordination. This I mean to say here with this clause. Time has come to sign you off from today's lesson. In today's lesson, we have discussed about the plot, some major incident, characters and the theme. But here, I just close with the message which we are getting in the story. And this lesson you should follow in your life as well. Because you have the habit to put the task on tomorrow. And tomorrow always come with the regression. Never with the task again. According to the order from Berlin, only German was to be taught in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine. Okay? In the story, it was said in the official order. This order left Mr. Hamel, the village people, and the students in deep regret. The villagers regretted not having made utmost use of French lesson that they had been given by Mr. Hamel. They had engaged themselves in their profession to earn a living and had not taken their French lessons seriously. And you all are doing the same. You are not taking your lecture seriously and you are just waiting for the better tomorrow. Better tomorrow you will bring if your today will be the better. But you need to make your today's better with the assigned task and you need to do that same day. Don't put the things tomorrow. Procrastination of the task, it's very bad habit. It never leads to the path of the success. So the children and the villagers sitting in the class and had always thought that they had enough time to learn language, but now during the last lesson of French language, everybody realized their mistake. They realized the mistake with regression. They all attended the last lesson to show their respect to their teacher and their country, which was no longer theirs. So I am telling you the same. Please learn the lesson from the story that don't put the task tomorrow. Today is your day. Tomorrow we don't know. So tomorrow we are having our line by line explanation session with the textbook, and in the evening you will be receiving the summary, synopsis and line by line explanation text base. So just for today I am putting you think over the message of the story and signing you off. Stay safe, stay protected. Goodbye. See you tomorrow.